Yo, 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 what's poppin', Gamer Tunnel?
What is popping? Gamer Void with a 0 and an O.
Yep,
What
yep.
episode are we on now? Three,
This is
four?
episode 4.
Quattro.
Quattro, yep. How you doing, Gamer?
Dude, I am super duper hyped to play a bunch of Melee because I've been doing that lately. So that's been a lot of fun for my brain. It's like, oh man, that game is so much fun.
Word on the street is that you joined a Melee tournament this weekend?
I did. I went to one yesterday because we're recording, what is it, Sunday?
This is Sunday night, yeah.
Yeah, so I went to one on Saturday. I got 5th. I was seeded to get 5th as well, although it didn't play out exactly how it was supposed to because the 1 seed got upset. I was supposed to play the person that the 1 seed was supposed to beat, but because the 1 seed got upset, I had to play the 1 seed for 5th.
Yep.
Which that went to game 5. It was really close, but I ended up losing, so I'm not too upset about the performance. At first, I was kind of like, oh, man, I could do so much better. But, I was still, I had a good time. The sets I played were good, and I felt like I lost to good players. So I'm not too upset about it.
Especially since, I remember you told me after the tournament that it got done, you were like, I hardly practiced for that tournament. Like, I hardly played. And you were like, I'm super happy with, like, how well I did considering the amount of time I put in. And it's like...
Yeah.
Now you're, like... kind of thinking about getting back into Melee seriously, or like at least like more actively than you are at the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking into it. There was a set that I played where I lost my first game because I ran off the stage and killed myself when I was at 0%, and I was just like, I sat there and I was like, man, I just want to like unplug my controller, go home and lay in my bed right now. And then next I blink and then I won the set. I was just like, I was so tuned out, and it was almost like helpful to play better because I was just like, whatever, man, I'm just gonna play the game and just see what happens. So I was able to kind of like stay composed. Like my friend came up to me after, he's like, dude, you stayed so composed, and I'm just like, bro, like I literally wanted to just stop playing at some point. I literally was like about to just unplug my controller straight up and just get out of there.
But that makes me think, like, it's kind of like a similar there's a similar parallel in speedrunning where, like, oh, you start the run, like, at the first half of the run or whatever, like, you make, like, a fairly big mistake and you're like, I'll keep going, and then, like, the rest of the run is, like, super clean.
I swear, all my PBs are exactly like that. I swear, all of them, I'm just like, man, this run stinks, and I'm just like, I don't feel like resetting. I cannot be bothered to reset right now, so I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, resetting is so annoying.
It can get really bad. It's fine. Usually, I find that it's okay for the first hour. And then after that, it starts to hit me a little harder, I think. Yeah. Because when I go into a session, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to game, ready to roll some monkeys, and then, like, I just, like, I reset a few times. If it's, like, really, really bad at the start of the session, which... sometimes it can be that way, then yeah, it gets pretty annoying. But if I can get like something about like 5 minutes in and then reset, it's like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
no big deal.
I feel exactly the same. Like, like if I go like maybe like the first 2 hours stretch of a session without like really getting anything going, like maybe like having a good segment or like just having like a run going that I feel satisfied with in general, then I'll start getting frustrated. But like if I have, like, a good run or two within that 2-hour span that, like, it feels like I could go, like, 5 more hours, like, easily.
Yeah, it's literally just run a marathon. Just literally don't never stop playing. Can play for forever.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, man.
But, like, that makes me think, like, okay, so you want to go back into Melee, and, like, so that would require, like, probably some amount of practice. I don't know, like, how much you would play Melee back when you were, like, maybe really, like, actively grinding that game. But, like, how do you feel about juggling playing Melee and then also speedrun DKC at a high level?
Yeah, so running DKC, at least for me at this point, is, and it probably always will be, a good bit easier than playing Melee because I have the room for improvement that I have in Melee is way bigger than the room of improvement I have in DKC. And like, I think because of that, it's like, with speedrunning, it's like there's certain things when you're brand fresh to new to a game, you have to learn tricks, movement, how to not die, etc. And then eventually those things, you have so many things to improve on at that point, right? When you first pick it up. But those things slowly get smaller and smaller and smaller. And once you get to a certain point, it's like, we're talking like, oh, I should learn that strat that saves half a second if I feel like it. because you usually don't have to do something like that, but you can, you know. So it's like, and then so that's kind of like the spot that I'm at for the most part right now. So I'm kind of like, well, I could just keep doing what I always do, and if I play bad on a day where I'm speedrunning, it's not the end of the world, because sometimes that happens when I'm playing really well.
Hmm.
But like with Melee, if I have a bad tournament performance, that hits me like really hard, because tournaments aren't just happening whenever I want them to happen. So like the equivalent between speedrunning and Melee, I guess, like the tournament is like runs, kind of, you know, like in a way of like
Hmm.
like the thing to get the goal in which you were trying to get, which is weird because you can do runs whenever you want. So like
Yeah.
that freedom kind of makes things a lot easier for me, I think, to kind of take DKC as I go. I think both of them, what my plan is, at least to juggle both, is to kind of just go into them and give myself so much room, because I can do runs whenever I want. I can go to tournaments whenever I want. I don't have to do too much of anything.
Yeah.
Like, is what I'm kind of realizing. Unless I'm like, you know, trying to be best Melee player in the world and get world record as fast as I possibly can, which I don't have to do those things, you know?
A
Like,
wise man once told me, "You don't want to speedrunning."
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's okay if it takes some time. You
Hmm.
know, it's okay if you choke a bunch of runs. It's like all of these things like are going to happen even if you practice a lot and like put like, 'cause some people are like, "Oh, I just got tons of hours into it." It's like you're going to burn the heck out like so fast.
Yeah.
So like I think that like my biggest thing is I'm giving myself a lot of wiggle room for both of them. But
Hmm.
like if I feel like playing a lot of Melee on a day, I'm gonna play a lot of Melee that day. You know, if I feel like I'm like, oh, I feel like I gotta run a tut. I really want to get a PB. Like I might, you know, I might sit down and like grind some jump roll practice and just stream it like for 5 hours instead of 3. You know,
Yeah.
like so I think that that's the biggest thing is like not I feel like with multitask, I don't know how if this is the same for you, but like with multitasking hobbies, like when you think about it, it's overwhelming. You're like, oh my
Oh
gosh, like
yeah.
I can't possibly be really good at this and really good at that, right? But like,
Yeah.
you know, if you just kind of sit back and think, oh, when I'm doing this, I'll just do it. That's
Hmm.
it. There's nothing else to it. And then when I'm not doing that, I don't have to think about it, you
Yeah.
know?
Like I mean, I remember like I went from playing Yu-Gi-Oh competitively to playing Magic the Gathering competitively, and then I went from Magic to speedrunning, and then I've been speedrunning since like what 2013, 14. Like I've been involved in the
Yeah.
community since for that
Goated
long, and
hobby.
go to the hobby. But
Literally goated hobby.
just to like follow up with your point, like yeah, I don't know why, but like when I transitioned from playing Magic to speedrunning, like I started playing a lot less Magic, and like like that feeling when you said like you can speedrun whenever you want, and like that helps you stomach the fact that you lose a bunch of runs, whereas like if you don't perform well at a tournament, then like it sticks with you a lot longer. Like
Yeah,
I could
way
feel
more.
that. I could hella feel that
Yeah.
when I played, and I mean you played Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Like both
Yeah.
in Yu-Gi-Oh and in Magic the Gathering, whenever I had a bad tournament, I would be like, man, what am I doing? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm better than this. Like, there's variance in the game, but I just couldn't, like, look past that. I was just, like, so upset that, like, I would travel several hours to, like, some buttfuck nowhere place, like,
Like
and
just
just,
some random
yeah,
place.
and just, like, go 1 and 2 at a tournament and be like,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
fuck it, fuck this shit. Like, what am I doing here? And, like,
Yeah, yeah.
like, the upside of speedrunning, like, you can just, like, stay at home, chill, like, hang out with your chat, like, you don't have to
Hmm.
travel anywhere, you don't have to, like, face sweaty nerds, like, you don't have to do, like, any of that. Like, you just, it's so nice. It's so much nicer. Like, I don't know. I'm happy to be retired from the tournament grind. Like I was not like the most pleasant person to play against in Magic the Gathering or in Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
So
and tournaments they bring a whole different side of people out of them. It really does, because
yeah.
when two people are sitting down and they both want to win really badly, one person is really happy when they win, the other person is really not happy when they lose. It's like that dynamic of two people just being together with each other. It's not good, you know.
Yeah.
It's going to be really like with like sports, you know. It's a little different because it's a team, right?
Hmm.
I feel like a more comparable thing with sports is when one person just completely throws a game. Like one player very clearly was the reason why like a game was
Yeah,
lost
yeah,
or something. Then
yeah.
maybe that might kind of come in there
Right,
a bit,
yeah.
you know.
See, I don't really like follow team sports enough to have like a good comparison, but like since Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh and those kinds of games are more like 1v1, and that's also like
Hmm.
not super applicable, but I still understand like the what you're trying to convey, like you
Right, right,
yeah.
yeah.
This is
And
just
like I like how when you were talking about how like oh you got to go to some like bumfuck nowhere or whatever. I'm just like half the time when you go to these tournaments, like this is where the tournament is happening. You have no connection with this area. You're just going there for the tournament.
yep.
And it's like sometimes people like, I used to like tell people like, oh, like I'll travel for tournaments. Like, oh, like where do you go? And I'm like, oh, I went here, I went there. And they're just like, oh, that's cool. Like, what did you do when you were there? I'm like, oh, I played in the tournament.
Yep.
Like, it's like I really just went there to play in the tournament. Obviously, if you're going like, I don't know, to like a place where there's like Disneyland or whatever, it's like you can do stuff when you're there, but like
Yeah.
it's just so ironic how like I went to like a Yu-Gi-Oh Nationals in I don't remember what year it was, but it was in Detroit, I think it was. I know it was in Michigan. It may have been in Detroit. I can't 100%
Okay.
remember.
Yeah.
But I was just like in Detroit and I'm like I don't really want to be here. Like I'm just here to play in the tournament. That's it. So it's like it is pretty funny and like I always remember when you don't do a tournament, the ride home. Oh man,
The
the
ride
ride home
home
is
fucking
the worst.
sucks. Yep.
It's the worst.
Yeah, like
Oh
even if
man.
you like do well at the tournament, I feel like the ride home will still suck. Like it sucks no matter what because like the tournament will end pretty late, and then like at least like in our case we had to like always drive at night, and driving at night is like probably like bottom five worst things imaginable. Like I swear to God, like the amount of times I've had to drive back at night, it's awful. And like you feel
Yeah.
tired, you have to like stop constantly, but like you also like
Yeah.
really want to like get into your own
You want to get
bed.
home. You
Yep.
just want to get
You
home,
just want to
dude.
get
Like
home. Yep, yep. And like it feels even worse when you have to carry like people that don't drive or that don't want to drive. That feels
yeah.
awful. Like
Yeah. Like when you have a group that you're going with or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Like I was the guy who had the car when we were traveling, so like I would be
Oh,
the
I
guy who
see.
would drive most of the time. So yeah, shit was rough, man.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's just like it doesn't really matter whether you do well or not, but like if you don't do well, especially, it's just like, man, like why did I even go?
Yup,
Sometimes you think stuff like that, like why did I even
yup.
go? Why did I even play? And like that's kind of one of the things about like competing in any game, going to tournaments for any game. It's like that is a feeling that is unavoidable. Basically, like you're going to experience that, and you kind of have to be okay with that. But like with speedrunning, like I think that's part of the reason why like when I like lose a run, I'm like, yeah, I might be upset about it, but I'm not gonna dwell on it for forever because there's times where I've almost beaten really good melee players and I didn't,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, and that was like I could get a run like immediately after losing a run, but like another opportunity to play someone and have a chance to beat them again is like that's not gonna happen like
Yeah.
again very easily, so it's
Not
like
anytime soon, that's for sure.
exactly. Like I'd have to go to the next tournament and run into that situation again, and that's like months away or something. So it's
Yep.
like swallowing that is definitely something that you kind of get used to competing in like events.
Yeah. Cuz
So
like no matter how bad like the runs are for me in any given session, like I forget about them like the next day. Like the next day is always a new day, so like new day, new runs.
yeah,
Just forget about it. Like you can say the same about tournaments, but like the time span between two tournaments is a lot wider than like the time span between two speed sessions, depending
yeah,
on your schedule, obviously. But
yeah, exactly.
if you're like someone like me and you who do runs almost daily, then yeah,
Hmm.
like that's just like easier to get through the grind in that
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, exactly. And like tournaments are also just like an expressive way. It's like you're really putting yourself out there. When you speedrun and you get a PB and you post your PB to the leaderboards or whatever, you're showing the best that you've done, right? You're
Hmm.
not showing all the times that you died and reset. You're only showing like the best of what you've done. So like it's a little different. It's a little hard. It's a lot harder when you like have to show everything that you did. It's almost like every run is in a reset, which is kind of similar to like a tournament, like a speedrunning tournament, right? Where it's like you every run's in a reset, and you are always putting yourself out there with like how well you can produce runs like on a
Yep.
consistent basis. So like and it even comes through here, but like with speedrunning tournaments, it's really ironic how like it doesn't, as far as the general speedrunning spectating public is concerned, it doesn't seem like that many people care that much about tournaments. Like it seems like the communities do, but like it seems like people are way more invested in like the leaderboards and like the
Oh
world
yeah,
records or whatever.
yeah. I
Like
think so too. Like, I want to say like speedrun tournaments back in the day when they like started being like kind of new and fresh and there, like those were exciting. Like I remember when speed gaming would like start hosting tournaments. Like it would be like every community wanted to get in on that. Every community wanted to get tournaments going on the speed gaming channel, and then it kind of, I feel like it kind of got run to the ground to the point where like people just diverged from centralizing the tournaments on speed gaming, and now they're just hosting their own tournaments. Like each and individual community is hosting their own
yeah,
tournament, which is like what we ended up doing. I want to say like a few years ago when like we started hosting our own tournaments. I don't remember like which tournament we hosted. Like us being like the DKC community. I want to
yeah,
say it was
DAC community.
the DKC three tourney that
Hmm.
happened like not even that long ago. Like this DKC2 tourney that just happened might be like the second one, and we're thinking of like doing another one potentially later this year. But
Hmm.
yeah, it hasn't been like that long, and it just like yeah, ultimately it comes from the fact that there's just so many tournaments, and like I feel like the interest has dwindled enough from like them being centralized that you might as well just keep the interest for a specific like tournament of a specific game confined with like the community that will actually enjoy and watch that game.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And like stories matter too, right? Like when it comes to a tournament, like knowing the backgrounds and knowing how oh, like for example, like if someone is very just in like cracked at a game, like, and they just like, let's say they win like every tournament, like multiple tournaments in a row. It's like if someone beats them in a race or whatever, that's like exciting,
Mhm.
because it's like, oh, like this they bled, or whatever, so the stories and development and stuff like that, it's only like exciting if it's kind of kept track of. But
Mhm.
like if things kind of
Absolutely.
happen once every, whenever, it's kind of hard to make people as interested in it because they don't know anyone's background. They don't know who X runners are. The people in the community know the runners, right? But like people looking out and looking that are out there looking in, it's kind of just like, oh well, I don't know what's going on. I'm just here because I like the game. I'm here because I'm interested
Yeah.
in the race, and that's about that.
Yeah,
um
that I want to say that was part of the problem. Like there was just no story. Like it's just like Speed Gaming kept churning out tournaments like as content on their channel,
yeah.
and
Hmm.
it's there's nothing wrong with that. But like yeah, ultimately like the interest is just gonna like dwindle. Like I said,
Hmm.
like people who want to watch like the DKC community do speed runs of that, or like the DKC tournament or whatever, like they're gonna just watch that. They're not gonna stick around for like the Zelda randomizer tournament that's happening, or like the Super Metroid tournament that's happening. Like it's just like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like even if like the most of the tournaments would still be like centralized at this point, it still wouldn't like help them being like like the golden age is past kind of thing.
Yeah, it really has. I feel like there is a way to like kind of make it like revive it or whatever, but like it would require something a lot more organized, and of course people would have to be interested in doing that. And I think that like as far as the communities are concerned, like I feel like there's always interest in like rate like like tournaments for racing. I feel like people are usually like, oh, if they see other people are doing it, it's like, oh well, I already run the game, I can just go ahead and enter that. So like I feel like the interest is always there as far as like
let me say something about that. Like the interest
yeah, go ahead.
the interest is definitely always there to take part in a tournament and like enjoy a tournament and like like want to support the tournament. The problem is doing the tournament, you
Doing
know,
the
hosting the
organizing the
tournament, like
tournament.
the hosting part of the tournament. Like it's like, okay, it's like it's exactly like, you know, let me give you like a parallel to that. Like, you know, you're at GDQ, you're like hanging out with like a group of people, you're like in the hallway, you're like in a circle, like 7 or 8 people are
Hmm.
like, hey, you guys
Yeah.
are hungry, you guys are hungry, yeah, 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 you want to go eat, yeah, we could eat, all right, where are we going, I don't know. And then like we just like sit there like look at our phones for like 20 minutes.
That is such a classic, dude.
Yep.
I just remember like being in a group and that exact same thing just always happened. And one person just like, nope, we're not doing this. We're going here. We're going to Taco Libre. We're going somewhere,
Yeah,
you
like
know? Like
someone has to like take the lead, and that's
yeah.
exactly like the same way I feel about speedrun tournaments. Like someone has to take the lead
Someone
about
has to
making a
really want
speedrun
to do
tournament.
it.
Yeah,
They really
exactly.
have to want to do it to
Yeah,
the degree in which they'll not only organize people to organize the tournament, they'll also just be like, okay, we're gonna make a post. Hey, we're doing this. We have a date for like registration or
hmm,
whatever, and it's like you want to do this, great. Talk about it, tell everybody about it.
yep,
But like, if no one wants to do that, it like can't happen.
yeah,
Even if someone's like, oh, we should do a tournament, it's like, okay, cool. It's the same thing as asking like, oh, we should go out and get some food. Where? I don't know. It's like
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
exactly the same thing.
Yep, yep. Like,
Oh
you know,
man.
I've been talking about on stream for like a while about wanting to make a DKC2 tournament, and then like Gil kind of sorta one upped me, but at the same time I was like, oh, Gil actually like went ahead and like made the post and the announcement and like started doing like the Twitter thing and like, you know, just like
Hmm.
spreading the news around. And I was like, bet I'm gonna like support that because I wanted to do one anyways. And like, if Gil thinks that like right now is the right time to strike, then let's do it. And then I
Yeah.
started like doing a lot of advertising on my own stream and just like
Yeah.
retweeting the stuff that he would post on Twitter and just like, you know, spread awareness that the tournament was happening and just like, you know, gather like as
Hmm.
much interest for it as we possibly could.
Yeah, and then we got the restreaming, commentary, like all of that needs to have some kind of core. Like so it's like one person can do that or a few people can do that. Obviously it's better if you have more people that are interested in actually making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But passively doing things never really gets anything done. But that's like kind of the case for anything. Like for example, me. I want to make YouTube videos, but where are they?
Yep. Where are the YouTube videos?
it is nothing but a thought at this point, right?
Yeah, I
Until
mean,
it
we are
actually
making a YouTube
happens.
video at this right now. You know,
We're doing it. We're
we're
doing the thing.
we're getting there. But yeah, I feel you regarding the YouTube thing. Like, I've been wanting to do videos for a while before I actually like started committing to it because I really wanted to
Yeah.
like grow the YouTube and like get YouTube partner and whatnot, and like that was my goal for
Mhm.
this year. And like now that I've hit it, it's like it's almost like I've slowed down on videos. Like I don't want, I feel like almost bad for saying that, but like it's true. Like
Yeah.
I, you know, I'm still working on this jump roll video that like I really want to make, but it's like
Mhm.
I'm not happy with the script at the moment. So like I'm still working on the script, and like because I'm not happy with the script, like I just don't feel motivated about working on the script, and just it's like and
Yeah.
then we end up in this vicious circle where it's like, oh, like, you know, I want to run a game, but like I don't have the time to run the game, or like I want to run a game, I want to get good at the game, but like I suck and I don't want to play the game if I suck, and it's just like that kind of stuff, and then like it starts like eating you up, like, and you start feeling bad about it, but like
Yeah.
you
Motivation, dude.
you shouldn't. Yeah, exactly. Like it's all about like motivation, but
And it's like how do you magically become motivated, right? And it's like you have to want it, you know? And I guess this is like a nice segue into talking about motivation. May as well, right? So
yup.
like with motivation, like I kind of ran into that with like growing my stream because I have a lot of like motivations or like not motive maybe not motivations but I have a lot of like thoughts of like, oh, I'd really like to get partnered on Twitch. I'd really like to get 100 sub points. I'd really like to stream this game and that game, but it's like none of it's gonna happen unless I do it. So it's like how do I might come into like situations where it's like I wake up and I'm like, oh, I got like 7.5 hours of sleep. I'm kind of like tired still. I kind of want to sleep a little bit more. I'll hit snooze, and it's like that cuts into time to like for me to stream. The more I like set back, it's like if I decide, oh, I'm gonna go. like make breakfast, eat breakfast. I'm just sitting there watching a stream. I'm having fun watching the stream, and I'm just like, oh, I should probably stream. And it's like the longer it just, I just like,
You always push
you
it back,
know,
right? Like
yeah, it's so easy to
procrastinating.
just, yeah, it's so easy to just keep pushing it back, and it's like there's got to be something that motivates you to do it to the degree in which no matter how shitty you feel, no matter how much you're like, oh, this kind of stinks, you're still just going to do it anyways. Like, let's look at like a job, right?
Hmm.
What's keeping you from, like clocking in, or like, it's like, I might get fired, like I need money,
Yeah.
those are things to motivate you to do this,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's like, and it's like, for example, like, I don't know, if somebody had like the, oh, what is it? Like a goal, like for example, they wanted to become like a full-time streamer, and it's like, they're like, okay, well, what would I have to do that? There's like several steps, several things you would have to do. The road is like, it's really long, right? And it's like, if you wanted to do that, you need to have, your eyes set on that to the degree in which no matter how bad you feel, as long as you commit to a schedule and stick with the plan, you can make it happen
Yeah.
because that thing is pushing you to do it no matter how far, no matter how demotivated you are or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever on
yeah.
a
Like
specific given day.
it's daunting when you like look at it and you're like, man, like I'm starting from the bottom and there's like so much to do to like get to where I want,
Yeah.
and it's like first off you have to take it like one day at a time, right? Like
Yes.
like
Yes.
what was what's the saying again? Like Rome wasn't built in one day, or like
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
So like it's the same thing when you want to like get partner or like get to like a certain amount of subs on Twitch or whatever, and
Hmm.
like once you've hit that goal, then like you can like just look back and be like so proud of like what it took to get there, and like be like so happy and like feel so rewarded about like how much time and effort you put into it.
Yeah, and that feeling is like golden.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
it's like one of the best like things like in life, in my opinion. It's just like being able to like obtain that thing that you really want. And that's a part of the reason why I love speedrunning so much. It's just because
yep.
you can just get that out of speedrunning. It's like working so hard to just attain something that's like it seems so difficult to get, and then like when you finally do it, you're just like, ah,
Yep.
ah.
That then you get the happy brain juices.
Yeah, you get the brain juice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But like, yeah, like, at least like for me, I could like branch into like a little bit of my experience, but like yeah, what keeps me going every single day? Because like yeah, I have partner, like I've had partner for a while at this point, but like yeah, what keeps me going still to this day is like the thought that like the next day is gonna be like it's always gonna be like a better day than yesterday, and like I'm always like
Yeah.
gonna like find ways to improve my stream with each and like each passing day, like every single new day that where I stream, like I try to take away something from that stream and like see
Yeah.
if it works and if I can like apply it to like have my stream be bigger and better in the future, because like I'm always
Hmm.
thinking about like the growth, like
Yes.
the growth
Yes.
with a capital G, mind you, and like yeah, like the grind never ends, but at the same time, like you got to think positive. You always got to be
Yeah.
like, it's worth it. Like what you're doing is worth it, and like I try to tell myself that like every single day. Like I'll have bad days, I'll have good days. Like the bad days sometimes will really suck. Like
Yep.
one or two,
Hmm.
but yeah, like just getting through that and trying to like find something about like how your stream went, and just like taking that away and like applying it to like your future streams, and eventually like you'll get to where you want to be,
Yeah.
and I'm not there yet, but I hope to be.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think you're doing a great job. The biggest thing is hard work and perseverance. I think that those two things, it's like if you're willing to put into effort and you don't just drop it, don't just give up, and you don't, because like that's the thing is like there are so many like situations that I ran into personally where I'm just like, oh, like I got really close to doing something that I wanted to do. Like for right now, like me, I'm getting back into playing Melee again. I wanted to be ranked top 100 in the world in Melee. I really wanted to at one point in time. I had like I think 2 or 3 tournaments in a row, big tournaments that I went out of state to, where I was super close to getting a really good win or like a really good placement, and I just fell short of it. And I looked back at those tournament results about like a couple months ago. I went back and just scrolled because on Smash GG, the website, it shows all the big tournaments you went to in your on your account. So I looked at them and I was like, I did pretty decent. Like I really didn't do that bad. It's just I wasn't an upper echelon player, but if I just kept going, I probably would have gotten top 100 ranked. I probably would have. The path was looking great, but to me, I was looking at it like the same, the same, the same. Like everything was the same to me because it was not advancing
Mm-hmm.
forward as a direct like result or whatever. But like when
The
and it's
improvement was not linear.
yeah. It was also hard to track because it's like and this can even come up in speedrunning too. It's like you when you start runs, it's like I want a PB. It's like did I PB or did I not? It's like that is not a good way of looking at it because like you could like get a lot of runs to like late game and that is huge. Like I love taking value out of that because it's very valuable
Yeah,
to
and
get
also
runs
and
to late
also and
game.
also playing the game is fun.
Yeah, that too.
Unless you're not speedrunning your game because you like it, in which case, like,
Maybe
you might want to find another speed game or another hobby. But like, yeah,
yeah.
like you gotta enjoy it. Like, if it's just
Yeah.
if you don't enjoy it, then, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I liked what you said about like how it's like taking the most you can out of every stream you do because us as speedrunners, streaming is very different from other people that are doing more variety content.
Mm-hmm.
We're quite literally playing the same game, doing the same thing. So it's very easy for us to look at it and think we're not doing anything different and we're kind of going the same. It's just the same as yesterday. It's very, very easy for the brain to naturally just think about it that way. When in truth, like you said, every day is different. Every day is a new day, and you can take so many things out of every stream you do.
Yep.
Um, and like, I don't know, man. It's just like it's tricky. It's very tricky situation and like it's kind of like your brain will naturally trap you to just think that you're not making any progress when you really just are making progress.
You are making progress. You're just not seeing it, and like
Hmm.
it's kind of like an easy trap to fall into in speedrunning. I want to say it's like
Especially in
it's
speedrunning. Like it's
especially in speedrunning.
especially.
Yeah, but I feel like that can also like apply to Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic the Gathering, like those kinds of
Hmm.
games. Just like and probably also Melee. Like
Yeah.
you'll go to tournaments or like you'll do runs and like you'll perform a certain way, but like you won't really like notice like how well you perform, like the difference in how well you perform compared to like the last time. And like even if
Hmm.
you don't necessarily see the difference, like that's okay too, because as long as you're not getting worse, like first off, as long as you're not getting worse, like that's a good thing. And also
Yeah.
like you're still playing the game, therefore you're keeping like your mind sharp about it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like
Yes.
that's like such a good thing to take away from those hobbies. It's like
Yeah.
if you keep playing, then like you will get better, and you do get better, and that's just
Hmm.
like ultimately like that's what you have to like keep telling yourself. If you think you're not improving, then that's just wrong. You are. Like I thought I was not improving when I was doing 1 or 2 runs at some point, but that was a lie. I was improving. It's just
Hmm.
I was trying to rush things. I wanted to like
Hmm.
get get to like my goal time, the 125 goal time, and I was just not getting there, and that was frustrating me. But like I was playing every day, and like I could tell that like I was getting gold splits. I was getting like the runs that I was getting deep. They were like having like good leads and whatnot. I was just like always like blowing it somewhere, and that was frustrating. But like I was getting better in a way. It's just you have to keep telling yourself that, and like ultimately like always keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah. And like there's always that thing where people say like when they get a PB or whatever, it's like, oh, I randomly PB'd, or it was so unexpected, right? I've even said this before, but like everything that you did led up to that,
Yeah,
like all of the runs, all the crappy runs or whatever, it led up to you making that happen. It really isn't as random as you think,
yeah,
like
yeah,
usually, but it's easy to just look at it as like, I just like reset and rolled one for like 2 hours and then boom PB. It's like,
yeah,
how'd that happen? It's like there's probably 1,000 reasons why that happened, but like
yeah,
it's like, do you want to go write them all down? Probably not, but like
yeah,
it's like everything you did, all the practice, everything led up to that. And it's harder to swallow, I think, when like this happens to a lot of like newer runners when they lose runs really, really deep. Like really deep. Like I'm talking like very end complete choke. It's like those are like the worst ones, right?
mhm,
And like not being able to close it out. It's like for example, like in NMG, this doesn't happen to like newer runners specifically because NMG,
mhm.
it's very common for you to die at the end of perils in
Oh
DKC
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Like that's because that stage is just really hard and there's a lot of pressure. But
Barrel's
like,
like well worth being named the hardest level in DKC 1. So
yeah, and it's like losing a run to perils is kind of like, I mean, you were like one small interaction from like basically getting a PB,
yeah, yeah,
like, and that's really just it. That's
yeah,
all it really is. And it's like maybe it could have been because you were nervous, maybe it could have been because you didn't practice that stage enough, maybe it could have been for a bunch of reasons, right? But it's like one thing that like happens to a lot of like newer runners is when they very heavily dwell on it to the point in which like the next time they get there that the mental blocks start to get
yeah,
developed,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it's like I think it's important to kind of look at it as, okay, that happened and it might happen again, and that's okay
yeah,
as
yeah,
long
yeah.
as you are okay with it. I think that's very important, is
You
once you
have
accept.
you have to be okay with making mistakes.
Yes, no matter where they are, no
Yep.
matter like even if it's the last hit of King K. Rool or Captain K. Rool and you die, like obviously that's extreme, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
and no matter where it is, like you have to at least be okay with that outcome, because once you are at peace with that, it's like so much easier to play,
oh yeah,
so much easier, because then you're okay with getting a PB, you're okay with losing the run, it doesn't
yeah, yeah, yeah.
matter, you know.
You don't want to be afraid of losing the run. Like the way I see it is like if you did it once, then you can do it again. And like
Exactly.
if you make it to perils, then like okay, great, you made it to perils. Like that's good. You played the game.
Yeah.
You played almost the entire game. Like that's
Hmm.
practice at the very least. And
Yeah.
like it's a run that you can look back on and also like take away stuff that like what went wrong and what went right and like all kinds of stuff. Like it's
Hmm.
just like it's so valuable to like just get the run to the end game. Like even if you choke it, it ultimately doesn't even matter that much because you can
Hmm.
get that same run and you can maybe even like get it even better. And then
Yep.
that might be the one that will get past perils. So like just getting to like okay, you get to like this choke point or whatever and you're scared of losing the run, just don't be, just like it maybe the run dies here, maybe it doesn't. If it does, like it's okay.
Yeah.
It really is okay. Like
And like I say that a lot whenever I'm on pace. I'm like, I there were so many of my PBs in DKC1 where I got in a ton. I'm like, if the run dies here, I'm okay with it because I'm very proud of how far I've gotten so far.
yeah,
And I'm not. I'm saying that there were times where I said that, and I didn't 100% believe it, but I think saying it helped me believe it, because because it helped me believe it. It was like, oh, now I'm not as nervous. Like now it's like, well, I've accepted this possible outcome of me losing the run, which sounds devastating and terrible, but like when I am like, oh, it doesn't sound too bad when I think about it that way,
mm-hmm.
it kind of just helps me like kind of stick to the program and just play it. Next thing I know, boom, I might just PB that run just
Yeah,
because I looked at it that
mm-hmm.
way. And maybe I didn't PB with it, and it's like, well, whatever. I was already okay with it. I've already
Yeah.
accepted this outcome, so yeah.
DKC 1 is so weird because like I have like a specific mindset when I play DKC 1 that's so different than when I play DKC 2. It's like when I play DKC 1, I'm like everything I do before Tut doesn't fucking matter. Right?
Yeah.
And then I get to Tut. If I get to Tut, I'm like, oh, cool, I gotta run to Tut. If I don't
Yeah.
get it, I'm like, whatever. Like it's part of the game, you know. Like okay, the run dies to tut, like, and then like if I the run doesn't die, and if I hit the jump roll, then I'm like, all right, game time, game time.
Yeah,
But
game time. That's when you gotta lay it
yeah,
down.
exactly. But yeah, like I had
I
like a
know.
similar case to when I was doing DKC2 Warpless. I don't remember if I talked about this like in a previous podcast, but like when I was doing DKC2 Warpless, like I was like I only need to get the castle climb trick once. Like I only need to get it one time
Yep.
because I know how good I am at the game, and I know like how good I can perform the end game once I'm past that level. So like
Hmm.
I was just like, if I get the trick, it's over. I'm PBing. Like
It's over,
it
dude. Those moments are the best.
yeah.
They're the best when you're that confident. Oh man, that's when you know you're gonna get a PB. It's like this game will not outplay me here. I'm getting
This
it.
game will be bent over. Like mark my words, it will happen. And like yeah, once you get to that point with your speed game, like you can officially say that you've made it.
Yeah,
Like
a hundred percent.
like to me, like you know, this is really like you know where you can say that like you have mastered your speed game.
Yeah, because like, and that takes like a lot of like practice, a lot of experience. Because like, the more often you are put in a situation where you have to play the end game, like you were talking about, is like all of it adds up. It's like once you've done it so many times, it's like you're gonna be doing it and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be scared here, and then you're gonna realize, wait, I'm not scared. I've done this like hundreds of times. Well, this is easy. Like I'm just gonna do it, no problem. It's
Exactly.
like,
Just do it like you've always done it in practice. Forehead.
mhm. Yeah. Oh man.
But it's
Cool.
true.
So
Yeah, that was good.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Do you want to
So
take
we
some
have some
questions?
yeah, that's you took the words right out of my mouth, brother.
Oh hell yeah, I love doing that.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, so Q&A segment. You know, we don't have a fancy intro for the Q&A segment yet, but like eventually soon TM. Yeah, we're having like a cute jingle and all that stuff. But yeah, question from Neil. What are your thoughts on the first Donkey Kong Land?
I haven't played that game before.
Tylenol has no thoughts on the first Donkey Kong Land. I do have thoughts on the first Donkey Kong Land because I played it as a kid, and I thought that game was freaking impossible.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Katsu's in that game, right? The little pig. I think the flying pig's in that game or
that's
something.
where that enemy is from. Yeah, exactly. I don't
That's too
remember,
funny.
like I don't remember what the enemy's name is, but yeah, it is from Donkey Kong Land,
That's
and
awesome.
like you know. It's just so different. Like Donkey Kong Land 2 and Donkey Kong Land 3 are like much closer to DKC 2 and DKC 3 than Donkey Kong
Mhm.
Land is to DKC 1. Like Donkey Kong Land is an entirely different game from DKC 1. And like
Yeah.
it has its ups and it also has its downs in my opinion.
Uh,
Like you have cool stuff in DKL. Like I've watched Otto do speedruns like a bunch of times, and like recently, gamer mozzarella cheese has been picking it up,
yep.
and I've been enjoying watching that too. And like the movement is different, like the levels are cool, like the tech is interesting, but ultimately, like casually, I thought that game was really really hard.
The
And
screen is really small too, so you can't see ahead as
mhm,
easily as you can in the SNES
yep,
DKC games. I'm
yep,
pretty sure.
yeah, the camera is smaller, and like to me, that was part of why it made like the game was so difficult.
Hmm.
And maybe I'll speedrun it eventually. Maybe not.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, thoughts on DK Land? There you go.
There you go.
All right. Another question from Lime. He asks, a criticism I have heard from the most competitive speedrunners is that too many categories can make leaderboards feel watered down, confusing, and leave the title of Best Speedrunner for the game somewhat ambiguous. Do either of you have an opinion on that criticism? Well, first off, I'll say that, like, the title of Best Speedrunner for a game, like, in the first place is, like, kind of arbitrary and, like,
Yeah.
reductive. Because, like, you'll have like several people who can like claim that title, but like just like isolating someone as like the best speedrunner of a game, I don't think is like a cool thing to do or a fair thing to do for like
Yeah.
everybody else who has like put the work into that game.
Yeah, and it's like you can go about this in so many different angles. I know so many people would be like, "Oh, if this person was active, they'd be the best." Like that comes up so much. Like they're just like, "Oh, if X player still played, oh, they the goat," you know? Like
Yeah,
no one,
yeah,
no.
huffing that fresh copium. That's what it sounds like to me. Like, if they don't play the game, they don't play the game anymore. Like that's just how it is. Like, okay, if they were the best back then or whatever, like if they were like a top runner, they had the world record back in the day. Okay, they had the world record, but now is now. Like, you can't dwell on the past. Like, you can't live in the past.
Yeah,
Like, that's just not how it works. Because like, if you do that, then like your speed game is just gonna die. It's gonna
yeah.
it's not gonna get active.
It's like I don't know. There was like one time where like I think like people were randomly posting like in the Sonic Adventure 2 community, people were posting like my top 10 of all time SHE speedrunners, and like they posted like all like their lists or whatever. Maybe it was top 5, I can't remember. And like I literally like I just like posted my top 5. I took a screenshot, or top 10 I think it was. I took a screenshot of top 10 on the leaderboard and just posted that. I was just like, yeah, that's my top 10 right there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you got it right.
I'm just like, I mean, listen, like I understand like the hype of like, acknowledging skill for people or whatever, but like whenever you're using somebody else's skill to discredit a currently active and playing member of this game or community, it's like not cool, I think.
Oh yeah,
Cuz like I don't know, it's like really easy to just look at things and be like, "Oh yeah, well this person's probably better than whatever." And like I don't know. I feel really like I feel like kind of was it insecure? Like for a while I would like obsess over like if I beat someone's time, because obviously I'm competitive about speedrunning. I do want to beat other people's times, and I think that's okay to do as long as it's not some kind of crazy unhealthy obsession. But like sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, like I beat someone's time, but I beat their time with a trick that they didn't have in their PB." That's something that happens. Like I think about a lot, and I'm like, well, is my time even actually faster or whatever? And then I'll think so much about that, and I'm just like, did I legitimately? Are they better than me? Did I, like
that happens so often in DKC2. So often, it's like you have Twig who has like this time, the mythical 44:16, and people are like, "Hey, I'm gonna cut the Twig." Like, okay, you cut the Twig. But then they're like, my run had like, Castle wrong warp, Arctic zip, like Crackhead wrong warp, all these tricks that like Twig didn't do. So like I didn't really cut the Twig. No, you did cut the Twig. Twig has his time, and like he has his time because of the strats that he used back in the day. And like that's his time now. Like that was his time then, and the time you have now is better than his time, and that's bottom line. That's what it is. Like you shouldn't like compare yourself to him more than that
with arbitrary things that of what ifs that are quite literally not real.
Exactly.
Like, none of these things are actually happening. They're all just in your head.
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, what if this was discovered a year ago or whatever? It's like, no, none of that's happening.
At the same time, like who cares? Like like you want to get better at the game, then like just go ahead and do that. Like don't dwell on Twig, like maybe like having like a better quality run than yours or whatever. Like ultimately it doesn't matter to me.
Yes,
it really doesn't matter to me, and it must, like for most people it won't matter too.
Right. Yeah. And as far as the critiques are concerned for like I guess like what Lime was asking, it's like I personally have always found that like the category that's at the front of the boards that's like usually like the main category, like, which I guess is it is all a little arbitrary. It's like when you go to speedrun.com and you go to a specific leaderboard and the first thing that's there plastered right up in your face, it's like that's the main category. It's like that's like the one that's usually going to be the one that's like most competitive and gets the most attentions. And again, like being the best at a game is quite arbitrary. So it's like I don't think that like if people want to talk about like how somebody might be the best at a game or whatever, that's fine to like have those types of conversations, of course, but like nothing's definitive. So like it is kind of just like a fun conversation, and that's kind of that. There's
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
No one's getting placed in the top 100 speedrunners in the world or
yeah.
whatever. No
As
one's legitimately doing things like that.
as long as like it's not done in like a reductive way to like shame people like and like discredit their times or whatever, then like you can have fun with that. But like
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
a fun
yeah,
convo.
yeah, exactly. Like
Hmm.
like overall, yeah. Just to like also follow up a little bit on Lime's question, he said that like too many categories can make leaderboards feel watered down. Do you actually have like opinions on that? Like like I guess like made up categories, so to speak, or like just have like leaderboards having several categories that like shouldn't necessarily be there.
Yeah, I mean, I always found that like it's good if people want to have meme categories, it's fine. I do kind of think that they should be, in my opinion, on a category extension thing. Like I know Ocarina of Time has like the KFC percent where
Yeah,
you
a lot of
go,
games have category extensions actually. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like or miscellaneous if they
Hmm.
want to do that. I think that like usually with games, it's like you want to show what is important in that game. Here's any percent, beat the game with whatever. Here's 100%, collect everything. Here is beat the game with an old any percent route. Like that's also totally okay. And then it's like anything else that you want to add on to that, fine. I just think that like once you start to get a little arbitrary, that's when it might go to miscellaneous or a category extension. But like the main bread and butter or whatever is just like the any percent, 100%, and then any preserved old routes from whenever is like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
my personal
Hmm.
like big thing.
Yeah. To me, it's like if there's enough interest for like a new category to come up and like people are like fine with adding it to the leaderboards, then like I mean, so be it. But
Yeah, that
like,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think like what Lime is also insinuating is like people making up meme categories so that they can have like meme records and like have like bragging rights or whatever over that, and it's just
Oh
like
man. It's not that serious.
it's whatever, man.
Yeah, it's not all that serious in my opinion. It's like if somebody if like they have the fastest time in a category and it's not very heavily ran, then that's what it is. And if someone wants to brag about it, then I guess they can. I think generally bragging is just kind of not a very nice thing to do
Yeah.
regardless of what it is. So like the way I think about that is that's kind of redundant no matter how you look at it, whether it is a main category in a main game or if it's a side category in a side game or if they're the best player of any game that they play, like
Yep.
it's kind of just like it's just you're kind of being a jerk if you're bragging about it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like
So
anyone is gonna look like a jerk if they brag. Like even if you have like 15th place, like which is still really good, and you like brag about like having a better time than like said person, then like that's not cool, man.
if it's friends, it's okay. Obviously, there's exceptions to these things. Like if
There
it's
are
like
always
friends
exceptions.
messing
Yeah,
with each other or
yeah.
whatever, then that's okay. But like if you're generally like you go into a Discord server and you're just like flocking, it's like come on.
I bopped that guy's PB. Haha, it's that guy sucks now. It's like
I really don't like
please
when
don't
people
do
do
that.
that. I really don't like that at
Please don't do
all.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like a one-way ticket out of that Discord that you just joined.
It's like you might get banned, but even if you don't get banned, it's like people are probably less likely to have a good relationship with you
People will
specifically.
remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Cool.
Another question from Fleedle. He asks,
Mhm.
um, has there been a food that has come in clutch for you during a long session of runs or a particularly long category?
I said this a little bit to you before we started recording, but I was doing 101% attempts in DKC1, and I had like these saltine crackers. I don't know what it was, but when I started munching on those, my body felt so content and comfortable in that moment to the degree in which I was. I'm pretty sure that that contentment and that comfort that I was feeling was enough to push out like at the time it was a 2-minute PB where I went from a 49.46, I think, to a 48.00 and 101%, which was like a huge PB for me at the time, like way like above my skill level at that moment. And like I really think that those saltine crackers carried me. I really felt that because I remember I go back and watch the VOD and I'm just stacking. I'm like, yes, I remember that.
One after the other.
Yeah,
That's so good.
dude.
I like that story. As for me, like I don't really like. It's rare that I'll like snack while I'm doing a run. Like most of the time, I'll
Mhm.
like if I like I'm really hungry and I want to snack, I'm just gonna like in between two runs go upstairs, grab like an apple or a granola bar, and just like come back and like munch on that while I read chat and just hang out. But like
Yeah.
in the middle of the run, like you did, like no,
It
I've
was just
never
in
done
one
that.
one. It was just in one one. I'm pretty sure, or like maybe like 1-2. But yeah, I know what you mean.
That's
Do you
so
ever?
good.
What do you ever have like a? Have you ever had like a breakfast of champions where you just had like the most like baller, like I don't know, eggs and bacon or something right before you started stream, and you were just like, yeah, let's go. I'm about to slam this. Like,
See. I had that today, but like
word.
then two things happened. First off, I was like I was doing like my casual stream because like I stream
Yeah.
casual games on the Sunday, so no speed runs. And the second thing is then I started getting destroyed by allergies. So
Yeah.
L plus ratio
L
plus
plus ratio plus maidenless.
yeah plus like sneeze your ass off. Uh,
Freaking allergies, man.
yep,
So rough.
fucking spring allergies.
Literally the worst.
Yep. And then last question from Renault asking, what is your favorite GDQ moment of all time?
Ooh, I mean, like, there's a lot of like, I mean, we could talk about like stuff that happened not on stream if we really wanted to do that, you know. But
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of stories that I guess we could go off of here for that.
Yeah.
Oh
But
man.
I guess if we stick to on-stream moments, then, I mean, I guess I'll have to say, like, my first GDQ run, which was my 102 run in 2016, because, like, that was when I became Void, I guess. Like I was already like Void, but I wasn't like the Void guy who like runs GDQs like every single time he submits or whatever, and like gets sick times.
You became the void.
Yeah, the Void. Like
That was when.
at that point, like I had like 27 O's in my name, instead of only like one.
Did you actually have like a bunch in your username?
No, that's a meme.
Oh, okay,
That's a meme that came up to be like afterwards.
I was like, dang, did I really miss the lore, like the OG lore for a second? I was like, oh snap.
No. Like that.
Uh,
If I could like branch into this like real quick, like the OG
mhm.
lore is that like I made up this name. Like I was like a big lurker on Twitch before like I even created this account because I didn't know like what account, what my I wanted my account name to be, and like I didn't want something that I would like get bored of after like 2 months or whatever. So like I wanted like a really good account name, and like the word void always stuck with me. Like I thought it was a cool sounding word, and at the same time like. I don't know if you've read the manga Berserk, but like
I haven't.
you haven't? Okay, like Void.
Mhm.
There's a character in that manga named Void, so that was also like a reference to that because I like
Okay.
manga, and also like there's a band called Behemoth that has a song where like
Hmm.
the word Void is in the title of one of those songs, and like I just thought that like it encompassed like a lot of things that like I liked, and also like characterized me as like who I was when I was like I guess like a teenager slash young
Right. Yeah.
adult, and I went with that. But the like the 4 letter word void was taken on Twitch, obviously. So like I snuck in the
Hmm.
0 in there because I was like I don't want to have an underscore at the end of my name.
And it's always been there ever since.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I a lot of people ask me like, do you want to get rid of that 0? And at that point, I'm just like too attached to it. Like I feel like it would be weird if I were to remove it. It would look weird to just have like void without the 0 at that point. Like
Yeah.
to this day, I'm like whenever like I see someone type void in like my chat or like another chat without the 0, I'm like, who that?
Who's that? Yeah, who's that guy? That's not me.
Who'd that be? Like who you talking to, fam?
So funny.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't really have like a specific GDQ thing that like I've been thinking about it just like as you were like talking, and I'm just like, man, I don't really know if there's anything that like I do remember like a while ago I saw like a run that I think maybe you didn't do it, but like somebody did. It may have been Eason's, and maybe you were on the couch, and you didn't have a beard.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that was the big thing. You did not have a
yeah.
beard, and I was like, I don't know who that guy is over there on that couch, but that's not what.
And turns out that was me. Yep.
It turns out it was actually Void.
Yep,
But I
yep.
remember I remember you saying something about Croctopus Chase being your favorite level because everyone sucks at it, and then Lovebird was born. So I think that was for your exact words.
Lovebird saw that and they were like, "Hold my beer."
Oh, literally, hold my beer.
I might have said that. I might have actually.
Yeah,
That sounds like something I would say. But that was me, circa 2016. Void, no beard. Like I started
yeah.
growing it later that year. In fact, like
Hmm.
if you check like the GDQ VODs, like from 2017 onwards, like all of my runs, I have a beard, and I've had that
Yeah,
beard ever since.
yeah. It's a good beard. I can't get a good beard like that. I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you like let it grow, it just like looks bad or
It's patchy. I'm not gonna lie. There's like like there's a little more here, and then a little less over there, and there's like a missing spot there. And there.
right, right, yeah. Okay,
Not a
well,
fan.
yeah.
Maybe one day though. Maybe
Yeah,
one day.
never lucky, but at the same time, like you can always hope.
Yeah, for
Maybe in
real.
like 9 years from now,
Exactly.
when Tylenol will hit puberty.
Oh man.
But yeah, thanks for the questions once again, gamers. If you have any
Heck
other
yeah.
questions, then make sure to drop them in the comments down below.
Dude,
Because
synchronized?
Yep, love to see
Down
that.
below.
Yeah, because we love seeing questions and we love answering them, and yeah, like these Q&A segments are really fun to do.
Yeah, for real. Like just anything. Ask what my favorite food is if you want. Ask what Void's favorite food it is.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, like we could
we'll
like
never
do
know.
a tier list of favorite foods next week, maybe. Who knows?
Yo, that sounds kind of hype. Low key for episode 5? Episode 5?
Episode
Episode
five,
5?
yo, episode five. I can't believe we're getting to episode 5 already. We're not even
Yeah.
done recording episode 4.
It's almost Voidathon also.
Yeah,
Fun
it's
fact.
almost Voidathon, but that will be for next episode. So stay tuned for that. Actually,
Heck yeah.
like on a closing note of this episode, and since we're talking also like about like cracked foods, because that made me think. It is actually my birthday in 2 days.
Yo, let's go.
Yeah,
Almost, honestly, almost like 24 hours low key.
yeah, because like it's currently 11 p.m. over here.
11 p.m.
Yeah, at the
Yep.
time of recording. But yeah, so like I don't know, like we're probably gonna like go out and have like a good ass meal or whatever. But then I like the topic I wanted to like bring up with you regarding that was like when you do like big streams that like you want to like highlight something like whether it's like a sub milestone or maybe like a follower milestone or like just a birthday in general or like maybe like you want to
Hmm.
celebrate Halloween, like you like Halloween,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like candies in general or like Valentine's Day stream, like
Hmm.
do you have like do you go in there like without like necessarily a plan or like do you have like specific ideas that you want to apply for those kinds of streams when you like make them? Because like if I take me as for an example, like I'm thinking about it, like maybe if I want to do like a birthday stream, I'm like, yeah, I would like to do that, but like what could I stream at the same time? I could do like the easy 306, like everyone loves to see like a 306 run, but like
Hmm.
what if I want to do like something a little spicier and like will I commit to it? And it's just like once you guys hear this, like you'll have seen probably because like I'll probably release this episode after my birthday. But yeah, like what are your thoughts on that actually?
Yeah, so me specifically, I really like don't do anything too out of the norm. I've thought about it because, like, like with like specific events or whatever, like you were saying, Halloween, Valentine's Day or whatever. Like I like one thing that I do a lot on my stream, just on my regular streams, is I always say like happy Monday, happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday, whatever day it is. I think progression throughout the week, progression throughout the year is all a very like fun thing to as far as interacting with other people are concerned. It's like, oh, it's like for example, like what is it, May? It's like summertime's, basically like we're hitting summer right now, and then it's like there's not really a bunch of like crazy, things going on, I guess, in summer, other than the fact that people might be like off of school, right?
Yeah.
So like that's something that's kind of exciting for me personally. My birthday is June 25th, so my birthday is in summer, so I'm like, oh, really excited for that, But I think like exemplifying whatever like time period of whatever big event that's happening, that you're trying to do a stream revolved around, is kind of cool because it gets people to think about how that applies to them.
Hmm.
Like if I say like on my stream happy Monday, Monday might be somebody's Friday for all I know, like maybe they work and they have Mondays and Tuesdays off, like they might like, oh yeah, it is Monday, like, oh, this is sweet, like I can do all these things or whatever. It's like I think that it's really nice as far as interacting with others is concerned, is like to kind of like think about that progression throughout the week or throughout the year. Talk about Valentine's Day, it kind of gets you, in whatever mood, winter time, Christmas,
Yep.
whatever, all those things are kind of like fun to talk about when it comes to interacting with people. So like maybe like, I've seen you do this, like you have the Void W emote with the candy cane, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like stuff like that. I like temporary emotes for like time periods. I like things on stream layouts that are new but are for specific events. It kind of adds a lot of spice to whatever it is that's happening in that moment. And I think that those things are they're fun. They're exciting for like people that are, around or whatever. So like maybe like,
Yeah,
if
people
it's like
people like
somebody's
seeing new things pop up. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
absolutely right. Like that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like I've never done this before, but like you could like have freaking balloons all over in your room if you wanted to, like wear a birthday hat. You could do like there's a ton of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
fun things like that could come up, and
I
it's like
actually do that for I mean, you've probably seen it, but like on the 25th, like the December 25th, I always do like the 105 run of DKC3 with the
yeah,
Christmas music, and I wear the Santa hat. So like
yeah,
that's kind of like
yeah,
my way of celebrating Christmas. And I just like, oh,
yeah.
I've been doing that for like I feel like I've done that for like the last four Christmases now. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that I've seen them like every time since I've been following you, but I want to say maybe even like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, four sounds about right to me, just because
It's at
I've
least
been
four, maybe
around.
even like five. Yeah, it's
Yeah, ever since I've been around, I've seen it. So
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, like I don't know, like stuff like that is always like really fun. Like finding ways to just like remind people of like the like the points of time in a week or the points of time in a year even,
Mm.
is always like a very fun activity because everyone can relate to it. And I think that that's one thing that's like really nice. It's like kind of more ways to bring people together.
Yep.
Which is kind of what streaming is. Everyone's coming to one spot, watching one person, and it's like when people kind of feel like they can relate more to what the streamer's saying or what they're kind of telling people, it kind of makes everyone feel more comfortable. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that.
I like it. I like it. So on that note, are you gonna do a birthday stream?
Maybe, maybe
Yeah,
not.
yeah. A birthday stream consisting of DKC all stages attempts, perhaps.
I did a randomizer. Not my last birthday, but the one prior. Last birthday, I was out of town, I want to say.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, but I definitely remember doing a randomizer two birthdays ago, and that was a lot of fun.
The DKC randomizer, or
Yeah, DKC one randomizer.
okay,
Yeah, entrance
awesome, yeah,
randa.
yeah.
That was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
I wanted to clarify because like I've seen you do Zer0 before, so
I've done so many randomizers at this point. It's just like, yeah, Zer0 is so much fun. I love Ocarina of Time randomizer.
yeah, it looks
Especially
fun.
when you're doing bingo. I'm like addicted to it, so that's why I'm not doing it now because I don't have time. I gotta practice gaming.
Practice DKC1, practice melee.
Yeah,
practice all
exactly.
those things, and then always like have to cut on like the fun stuff.
No time for fun, only time for very serious
Yep.
business. I'm a very
Yep.
serious guy, you know.
You and me both.
Heck yeah.
Speaking of business, it's almost Voidathon.
It's almost be there or be
Be
square.
there or be square. And on that note, I guess we're gonna wrap this up. Good
Heck yeah.
episode, gamers. Good
Yeah.
episode, Gamer Town Hall.
Heck yeah, bro. Thanks
Yep.
for tuning in, everyone, to episode 4,
Episode
Quattro,
4.
of the Zero Gamers podcast. And we will see you guys next week for
See you
episode
next
5.
week. Rolling out.
Rolling out.